Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I want to go ahead and shout out my big homie Paris Harris. He was one of the first ones to physically call my phone the day after the ESPY Awards and let me know about a young woman named Sandra Bland. What's going on with Sandra Bland is that basically Sandra was a woman. She had left Chicago. She was starting a new job down at her alma mater down in Texas. She was a graduate of Prairie View A&M. And so what happened is that she was driving and she was pulled over by the police because I guess she forgot to use her turn signal. So they pulled her over, some words may have been exchanged, but she was eventually drug out her car, and there was a passerby who was recording the incident. And you can hear her saying, you know, why are you slamming me on the ground? My fucking head hurts. What are y'all doing? They're really roughing her up. Then the police officer comes to the passerby and says, you know what? You need to get rid of that video camera, turn it off. And he's saying, no, I'm recording this. You know, I'm just making sure everything's okay. And you can hear Sandra say, thank you. Thank you so much for recording this. Thank you so much. And then they end up putting her in the police car. And literally 2 days later, after she calls her family, lets her family know what happened, that she's in jail, she's hurt and everything else, this woman ends up supposedly committing suicide in her cell. This whole situation broke my heart when I heard about this story, and Sandra kind of reminds me a lot of myself because, as you guys know, I speak out against a lot of social issues online. I speak out against a lot of injustices, especially towards black people, and she was doing the same thing on Facebook with the thing called Sandra Speaks, where she was stating her mind. This sister was very articulate, well-spoken, and I just don't get the vibe from her that she'd be down to kill herself, especially based off of something like this. She knew her laws. She knew that what they did to her wasn't right. Now, because it's become a national story, they started a hashtag on Twitter. The feds are now involved, and it's also come out as of yesterday that the deputy sheriff who was in charge of that jail had gotten in trouble before and had been fired from other jails for being racist, for abusing people. And this is the same man who was in charge of basically Sandra's care while at this jail. So I want you guys to go ahead and watch these news clips. And I also want you guys to go ahead and watch her talking about Black Lives Matter. Check this out, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
Sudden death of a Texas woman in police custody after a routine traffic stop. This cell phone video shows the arrest of 28-year-old Sandra Bland. 3 days later, she was found dead in her jail cell. Police say it was suicide. Family's not buying it, and ABC's Ryan Smith is here with the story. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, George. Sandra Bland was in Texas to start a new life, preparing to move from Chicago after getting a new job. But while authorities investigate what they say is a suicide, her family and friends want to know how a woman pulled over in a simple traffic stop could have died in jail days later. It began as a routine traffic stop of Sandra Bland, caught on camera, that seemingly went wrong.
You just slammed her head into the ground. You do not even care about that.
Just days later, her family told the 28-year-old was found dead in her cell of an apparent suicide.
She was in the cell alone.
And this morning, that family demanding answers to the mystery of Sandra Bland's death. The 28-year-old activist,
Black Lives Matter,
died just 3 days after being taken into custody for allegedly assaulting an officer. Police saying in a statement she was argumentative and uncooperative. But her family claims Sandra was the one injured.
She really felt that her arm had been fractured.
Watch as she questions officers' tactics.
what traffic signal slammed me into the ground and everything.
Then police appear to try to halt filming.
Am I on public property?
But Sandra applauds it.
Thank you for recording.
The district attorney said videos like this one from March.
I am suffering from something that some of you all may be dealing with right now. It's a little bit of depression as well as PTSD.
Could be used in their investigation.
And that self-diagnosis is certainly something that we are going to look at and consider with a motive for a suicide.
But Sandra's family said she was days away from starting a new job and would never take her own life.
Based on the Sandy that I knew, that's unfathomable to me.
The case is being investigated by Texas Rangers with the FBI monitoring, and authorities say while no cameras were in her cell, no one was seen going in with her before she died. But Sandra Bland's death has sparked outrage online. The hashtag Justice for Sandy going viral as her family searches for answers, George.
Well, they deserve some answers. Okay, Ryan.
Good afternoon, my beautiful kings and queens. It is Wednesday, April 8th, 2015. Hopefully you are out there or were out there this morning doing something productive, successful, something that is going to help establish your kingdom and queendom. Today's Sandy Speaks is going to focus directly on my white people. White people. Yes, black people know that all lives matter. But what I need you guys to understand is that being a black person in America is very, very hard. Although you all love to say, oh, nobody should see race, people are the reason that racism is still alive. Well, what kind of people are the reason? Black racists have no power, whereas white racists do. They have power because they are in positions of control, or they're in positions where they can influence the control over black people. Yes, that is very true. So to my friends who want to get on my videos and they're upset about the picture that I posted, oh well, I will not apologize for it, because at the moment, black lives matter. They matter. Our media is showing you, obviously they don't. So for y'all that can sit around and say all lives matter, I want you to go put it on a poster and stand out on a corner somewhere. If we can get enough white people to show that all lives matter, maybe they'll stop killing our black brothers. Because obviously that's what it's going to take for the white people to get up and get tired of black people saying black lives matter. So if y'all want it to stop, you get out there and do something about it. But what you're not going to do is get on my page with the foolishness. You will be deleted. You will be unfriended. I am not a racist. I grew up in Villa Park, Illinois, was the only black girl on an all-white cheerleading squad, so I had to learn how to deal with, and black people, you will not be successful in this world until you learn how to work with white people. But I want the white folks to really understand out there, black people are truly, we're doing as much as we can. Not all of us, but some of us are really doing as much as we can. And we can't help but get pissed off when we see situations where it's clear the black life didn't matter. For those of you questioning why was he running away, well, goddamn. Because in the news that we've seen as of late, you could stand there, surrender to the cops, and still be killed. So for those of you that feel like all lives matter, if you want to put it on the poster, I will stand out there with you. But if you're not ready to do that, do not get on my page with it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You might have a black friend or two. And I'm not calling all white people racist, because y'all not. But for the ones who want to get on my page talking about all lives matter, show me in American history where all lives have mattered. Show me where there has been liberty and justice for all, like that fucking Pledge of Allegiance we love to say. Excuse my French, because Sandy Speaks don't usually cuss. But I was really irritated by the responses to the post that I made earlier, because white people, if all lives mattered, would there need to be a hashtag for Black Lives Mattering? Think about that. Just truly think about that. Yes, black on black crime numbers are extremely high. Yes, they are. But that is because there are uneducated people who are hell-bent on self-extermination. I am not one of them. I am into building up my kings and queens. So for me, Black Lives Matter. And then subset, all lives matter. Take it or leave it. Sandy Speaks.
Watch the videos. You guys also saw the video of Sandra speaking. Like I said, to me, I don't get the vibe from her that this woman was, suicidal. We all go through depression. You guys know I've talked about my own depression. Most people who are depressed and suicidal are not going to be making Facebook videos and, talking about things like that. And they're trying to use, because she came up with another video later on about her talking about her post-traumatic stress and her being depressed. They're trying to use that video as an aha moment to say, you know what, she talked about, post-traumatic distress order and, depression. This is the aha moment. This is why she killed herself.
Reporter Chuck Gowdy has late details on the case that's attracted national attention.
Nearly 5 months before Sandra Bland was found hanged here in a Texas jailhouse, she made this recording and posted it on the internet.
I am suffering from something that some of you all may be dealing with right now. It's a little bit of depression as well as PTSD.
Now investigators say that could explain why she became combative with police last Friday when they pulled her over for an improper lane change.
You just slammed her head into the ground. You not even care about that. I can't even hear.
And why 72 hours later in the county jail, she hanged herself with a plastic trash bag.
She may have been suffering from some sort of mental illness, and that self-diagnosis is certainly something that we are going to look at and consider with a motive for a suicide.
Based on the Sandy that I knew, that's unfathomable to me.
Bland's family and a Chicago attorney say they will go to Texas to meet with state and federal investigators looking into the death, a meeting scheduled for Monday.
When you're left not knowing what happened to people in strange circumstances, the mind set that you have is that you just seek understanding.
You know, just because somebody's speaking about some things that they've gone through, like I've spoken about, does not make them suicidal at that point in time. I believe that when she was talking about her depression and everything else, she was just using that as a stepping stone to warn other people about being depressed and to go get help. You know, a lot of things bother me with this case. Everything from the sheriff being fired prior for racism and things like that. But I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but she is the third person to die of suicide in this same jail since 2012, okay? So since 2012 to 2015, there have been 3 people, including her, who have mysteriously killed themselves. Another thing that bothers me is in that video where she said, you know, you slammed my head into the ground, I can't hear. Do you even fucking care about that? You know, when she's saying that she can't hear, that means they really slammed her head into the ground. They were really beating her to the point where, you know, her hearing was temporarily lost. I mean, they had to really abuse her. And it's like, damn, all that because she, you know, didn't use a blinker, you know, didn't warrant that. You know, not using a blinker or not signaling is not an arrestable offense. At the most, she should have gotten a ticket and been sent on her way. Another thing that people are not realizing is that Sandra also called her family members. She spoke to her mother, and she told her mother that she had been beaten and that she believed that her arm was broken. Her arm was in severe pain. She was in a lot of pain. She was in a lot of hurt. So my thing is, if this woman felt that her arm was broken, how does she have the strength to tie together a bunch of trash bags and garbage bags and basically hoist herself up in her jail cell, you know, tie the bags with this broken arm and then kill herself? And where did these bags come from? You know, why are there so many bags in her cell where she could even potentially kill herself? You know, so the whole situation just does not sound well to me. It just does not sit well. I honestly believe that when everything went down, and they heard how articulate she was, and that she knew that she had rights, that she wasn't just some dumb thought, you know what I'm saying, willing to just go with the flow. When they realized that, and I believe that they ran her name on social media, I think what went down is that those videos of her talking about Black Lives Matter and those videos of her speaking out against police brutality, it didn't sit well with the sheriff and the people in charge of this jail. And I wouldn't put it past them or anyone in that jail to have gone in there and killed this woman. Because I also find it funny that no cameras were pointed at her jail cell. There's no video of her killing herself. They only had videos outside of the jail cell, and they're claiming that nobody went in there. But we don't know if they went in from a different entrance, if they moved her. You know, there's a lot of cover up here that's not sitting well with me. But I really feel like they found the things that she was saying on social media, and they used that against her because they knew if they would have let her go, she would have went to the media, she would have made this a big deal, you know what I'm saying? And she had the videotape evidence to back it up because that stranger recorded everything. So I just feel so bad for her, and I feel bad for her family. So for her to die in this manner is just ridiculous. It's just sad to know that you can be pulled over for something as stupid as not using a blinker or a routine traffic stop, and you may risk the chance of never coming out of that situation alive. You know, this is sad. If this does not wake people up, I don't know what will. So anyways, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. I want you guys to go ahead and leave a comment. You know, what do you guys think about this entire situation? Do you feel like there's foul play involved? Do you feel, or do you get the vibe that Sandra was the type to kill herself? Or do you feel like these people killed her and they're just trying to make an excuse and say that it was suicide? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces. Hey YouTube, it's your girl Lovely T, and you can show me some love by hitting that subscribe button, watching my previous videos, and following me on social media.